What's going on YouTube? It's Shot Callers Podcast, back here with another video. Today we're going to be discussing Andrew Wiggins and his all-star starter selection. Now, obviously, a lot of people think players like Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, Rudy Gobert got snubbed for that starting position. And in my opinion, obviously, I do believe that he shouldn't be a starter, but I am thinking a lot of people are taking it a little too far and disrespecting what Andrew Wiggins has done this season. Now, we all understand what he was at the beginning of his career in Minnesota, sort of this inefficient mid-range scorer who had so much potential but just never was able to really put it together and complete it, whether it was because of lack of effort, lack of IQ, or lack of drive or anything like that. And what's crazy to me is how people are so willingly able to just disrespect a man who has shooting splits of damn near 50, 40, 90 splits. Or not 90 for the free throw line, but 50, 40 splits. He's been really efficient this year. He's shooting 40% from the three and 48% from the field. His pull-ups are there. He's still taking some sort of mid-ranges, but it's the three-point shooting that's been really elite. Something that I'm specifically glad to see with the Golden State Warriors. So we're going to tackle that just for a little bit. It might not be too long of a video, but if you enjoy this type of video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you never miss a beat. If this is your first time being on the channel, hi, my name is Kyler, Shot Callers Podcast. We upload daily NBA videos, and I'm starting a podcast soon with my friend Dylan. So stay tuned for that. Links will be in the description, and the podcast news will come out during the spring/summer, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, let's get started. So like I mentioned before, Andrew Wiggins, I believe, has been getting too much disrespect for the fact that just because he's an all-star starter doesn't mean that he's not an all-star. So if you ask me, I do believe that Andrew Wiggins is an all-star. I do believe he deserves to be in the all-star selection, just not as a starter. Now, I think a lot of people do believe that as well. There are a good chunk of people who aren't disrespecting Andrew Wiggins to that extent, but I've seen a lot of comments on Instagram pages or things about Andrew Wiggins coming out saying he doesn't deserve to be in the All-Star, or even worse, he's been disrespected. And I'm just kind of going to shed some light a little bit on the Warriors, but more so on Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins is averaging about 18 and 19 points a game this season, about 4.5 rebounds, about 3-ish assists, about a steal and close to a block a game. He's basically been a slightly better version, I believe, than Harrison Barnes was back in his days. With the Golden State Warriors, if you remember, before Kevin Durant, it was Harrison Barnes. And I think a lot of people remember Harrison Barnes on a sour note because of how poorly he played in the finals against the Cavaliers when they came back from the 3-1 deficit. But people, outside of that, people forget Harrison Barnes was a really key player for that team. And he brought a different dynamic, which is something that Andrew Wiggins brings to this team. And the difference between Harrison Barnes and Andrew Wiggins, in my opinion, for this Golden State Warriors team when it pertains to this, is that I believe Wiggins is the better perimeter defender, and I do believe that he's a better three-point shooter. Something that we haven't been really able to say at all throughout his entire career until he showed up in Golden State. And like I said, he's been doing it at all three levels of scoring. He's really found his niche and his role in this team. I really enjoy watching him and Draymond play together. You really see that connection of the 1-2 duo when it comes to playing along Steph and Clay. I really do enjoy watching that. And honestly, albeit that I still believe that maybe Wiggins doesn't deserve a max contract, it's really nice to see that he's flipping his own narrative of this bust, so you want to say, which has been following Wiggins up until he came to Golden State. Because as we all know, like I said earlier in the video, his talent was always there, but he was sort of this inefficient mid-range scorer who was basically just a volume scorer and nothing else. He's not a really great playmaker. His passing at times has been solid with the Warriors, but in the system that they have, when Draymond Green is healthy, it doesn't really matter. They don't need him to be some elite playmaker, but he's never been known for his passing or his playmaking ability. He's a solid rebounder at best, but it's always been, if he's going to be an efficient scorer, then that's great. But if he's not shooting well, what else does he provide to the team? And that's what I'm here to talk about in my second point, which is he's been a pretty good defender this year. I don't buy that he's been an elite defender. If you actually really look into it, he really hasn't. But he's been a plus defender, which is all you really need from him. And he's actually been really good. I'm not going to lie. Like, just because you're not an elite defender doesn't make you not a good defender, if that makes sense. And that's what Andrew Wiggins has been for this team. And like I said, with the system that Steve Kerr sets in place, with the fact that when Draymond Green is fully healthy, when Klay Thompson, I believe, is fully healthy and back into it, Wiggins is going to be dominant. And I'm curious to see how impactful he's going to be in the playoffs, because that's when it matters most, because we haven't seen Andrew Wiggins in the playoffs like this. They did make it that one year when the Timberwolves had Jimmy Butler. I do get that, but they weren't going anywhere. They were the 8th seed. We understood they weren't going anywhere. But I'm curious to see what they're going to be like in the playoffs and how Andrew Wiggins can truly change his narrative. I don't believe that Golden State, the Warriors, need to change much for the team to move forward, and I don't believe that they need to win a championship for Wiggins to change his narrative. I just believe that, and I'm honestly really proud of Andrew Wiggins that he was so quick to really buy into this Warriors system, because for all we know, he could have stayed like he was in Minnesota, or stayed like the type of player he was in Minnesota, and the Warriors, we would have looked at them as wow, the Warriors really just got scammed by the Timberwolves. They really just took on this massive contract by Andrew Wiggins and got the same type of player, which was this potentially really good player that has it, but it's just some inefficient score that doesn't bring anything else to the team or to the table. So shout out to Wiggins for changing the narrative for that. Now, Golden State Warriors, what do I believe that they can be going forward? I understand the slump that Steph Curry's in. I'm not worried about Curry. I'm definitely, and I was thinking about this another time about dropping a video on Steph Curry. Let me know in the comment section if you think I should. But I'm not buying this BS that Curry's in this slump that he's not going to. Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter this planet has ever seen. I am not worried that this will stick, regardless of how long the slump has been. Curry will get it together. Klay Thompson's back. Let him integrate Klay back into the thing. Draymond Green has not been healthy, which is a key factor. A key factor, which I don't quite understand why people who don't watch basketball think they can just make some baseless opinion that Draymond Green not being there has an effect, Steph. If you don't know anything about basketball when it comes to the Warriors and Draymond Green's effect on the team, do not speak on that team or do not speak on basketball. I beg you. Draymond Green, although he's not going to be an MVP or really MVP candidate, has been like the quote-unquote MVP of that team, if that makes sense. Obviously, Curry's the best player on the team. We're not buying that. But if you understand what I'm saying, you'll understand what I'm saying, if that even makes sense. Draymond Green has been that dude for this team. He does everything that they need that no one else would want to do on any other team. And he's been elite at that. I remember everyone was saying, well, last year he's nothing without Curry or Klay. He's washed. No, he's changed the narrative. He's still an elite rebounder. He's still an elite defender on all aspects of defense, team defense. I wouldn't maybe not put him at elite perimeter defense, but he's still really good at perimeter defense. Elite paint presence, elite IQ, great rotations, great leadership. He's really good at directing an offense as a playmaker. He's a really good passer. He's really good at feeding Kevin Looney on lobs. He's really good at playmaking and feeling Steph Curry as a shooter when Steph Curry wants to play off ball. He's really good at setting screens for Klay Thompson off ball. The feel for the game that Draymond has and the IQ and awareness is unbelievable. So that's what I mean by if you know he's an MVP, you know he's an MVP. But at the end of the day, Draymond Green has not been there. I 100% believe that once he's back, do not worry, the Warriors will be back to the Warriors. And with that said, I do believe the Warriors will make it to the conference finals. I'm not sure how much I believe that they're going to win it. I'm still thinking that Phoenix is that team. I'm tired of people sleeping on Chris Paul, but that's my opinion. We can debate that in another video. But at the end of the day, I do have the Warriors making it to at least the conference finals versus Suns. Now, with all that said, I really do hope that Wiggins stays in Golden State. I really think he's found his niche in Golden State. I hope he doesn't go anywhere else. He said so himself in some interview. I think it was after, not the Minnesota game that they just played in, but the game before that, he was like, well, no, it wasn't the Minnesota game. I apologize. He's saying, well, he's found a home. He's glad he's here. And he's really bought into the system that Steve Kerr has. And that's all I can really say much for Andrew Wiggins. I'm proud of him. I'm happy for the guy. I'm glad he's finally changing the narrative that he's not a bust. And although he isn't the number one pick that we all believe that he could become, he still proved that he's just not a bust. He's still a valuable player in the NBA that any team could have on any given night. So with that said, that'll conclude tonight's video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you never miss a beat. And with that said, shot callers out.